Goodbye 2015 and hello audience. Welcome to Rule Thirds, your favorite film culture podcast, and you're joining us. We're just starting out our 2015 kind of year in review section of episodes, and we're starting off strong with our three favorite and three least favorite movies of 2015. You're currently listening to the upbeat and positive and happy one, our favorites of 2015. So I'm really excited to talk about those, though I don't think I'll be surprising anyone. I have some guesses for my co-hosts here, but I'm excited to see what their orders are. So without further ado, my name is Sean.
My name is Larry.
And my name is Max.
And let's get going with our best of the best, the cream of the crop.
Should we just lay down some rules real quick? Some disclaimers.
Yeah, okay, you know, that is a good idea.
Hey, Sean, have we seen every movie released this year?
Well, gee, Max, I just don't think that's humanly possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is probably a good thing to do, good thing to say. Obviously, we haven't seen every movie. And also just, it should be clear in the title, we're not calling it best movies. Like if I was doing best, it would be a different three. Just kind of
these
like
are
very important point.
These are favorites. This is, we think of that movie. How I did it was, I thought of the movie. I'm like, measure my emotional response. Oh, very emotionally happy or angry, and did that way. So this is just we like it the most. It's not really an evaluation of quality, though. I will stand behind the quality of all three films mentioned.
Yeah.
So
there is some.
Sorry, go.
This is just what I like. I'll tell you right now that one of these picks is going to be in that same position as its number, like forever. But the other two, it's a little bit interchangeable. So this is what I'm feeling right now with my picks.
Okay.
Yeah,
it might change over time, except for the number that I'll mention.
Yeah, I kind of share that opinion too. The year just ended, so these are pretty set in stone. But maybe by next year, if we look back, who knows? The numbers might be different.
Yeah, but as of right now,
yes,
as of recording at the end of 2015, when I think of the movies I saw in 2015, and I think this goes Max and Larry, I evaluated what made me the happiest, and those are the three picks.
Absolutely.
So those are the only groundworks. It's what made us happiest. What are we, most positive towards? So we're gonna do honorable mentions, but because we realize that there might be kind of spoilers where we list a bunch of movies and hey, only three that so and so didn't go on and on about all year wasn't mentioned. I wonder what the top three are. We're gonna hold that until between 2 and number 1. So before we get to number 1, we're gonna be doing some honorable mentions. So I guess we just dive into it because we don't have a community section, and we'll be recording the worst back to back, so we won't do it there neither. So we'll do community next time. But your question, we'll just do it right now. What are your favorite movies 2015? Pretty basic, and you can if you really want to, you can share thoughts on our picks, but really we want to hear your three.
Yeah, give us your three top three. What are your three top three movies?
Yep, and then we'll of course mention again, but on the least favorite side, give us your picks for that. Yeah. So I think that's enough beat around the bush, as they say. Max, do you have any preference who goes first with their number 3 pick?
Not on my side.
We should go. We should go by the order in which we introduced ourselves. So Sean, you're first.
Oh, the host never starts, but okay.
The host never starts. The host never starts.
See, it is 2016. New year, new podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
We're breaking all the rules.
Oh,
you
God.
Rebel. Okay, well, my number 3 is not going to be terribly surprising. It was my most anticipated for quite a while, which seems kind of weird, but it was. My number 3 favorite film 2015 is Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Awesome.
Okay. I'm hearing so much gasping and shock.
Yeah, I am pale in the face.
Oh yeah. Sorry guys. Here, let's just pause the recording. We'll let you deal with that information.
Oh my heavens! Oh my stars!
I don't know what to say. Come on. It was everything I wanted from it. It feels big. It has some great action. So quotable. Joss Whedon has just such fun dialogue. It went deeper into the characters than I think it needed to. And I appreciated that. It wasn't super deep or anything. We're not talking, character study level, but you learned a lot more than I think I expected to. And at the same time as all that, it packed in stuff from previous MCU movies, and it hinted at so much down the road. It was like this massive balancing act that I have no idea how Joss Whedon pulled it all off, but I think it felt like everything got its time and was in the right place, and it's just a highly entertaining movie. Don't know what else to say. There's not too much to elaborate on at this point. We did a review, so
yeah.
You guys
check
can
out that review.
Now's your time to get some thoughts on it.
It is. I'm going to be that guy and say that with each passing viewing of this movie, it gets a little. I still really enjoy it. It's one of those movies where the individual parts work so well that even though the overall structure is really flimsy, it still works and it's totally enjoyable and really entertaining. And dang,
Yeah, it has some amazing moments.
people don't like
Oh, yeah,
Joss
for
Whedon
sure.
for a lot of valid reasons, but dang, that guy can write dialogue like nobody's business.
Yeah.
He's basically the nerd's Tarantino. Like that's
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Like, he's kind of like Tarantino, but like what? It's like, yeah, he's the
Yeah.
nerd's Tarantino. Yeah. That's cool. Put that on your business card, Mr. Whedon. You
Yeah,
get
that-
that one for free.
Yeah.
Hello, Joss Whedon, Nerds Tarantino. So,
I saw it twice, and I liked it a lot better the second time. Although I have been meaning to rewatch it again just to sort of get a better idea of where I stand on it. But my issues are still apparent. I think Ultron just wasn't handled as well as I think it could have been. But I do agree that there's a lot of really great character stuff there, and there's a lot of great action as well.
and I was really excited. I got it on Blu-ray for Christmas, and it included
Nice.
digital HD, and it's perfect to have on my phone. Like, it's a perfect movie that I just feel like popping open something fun to watch, something light, enjoyable. It's a great one to have with me. So I think it's that kind of movie where I want to keep coming back to it. So that's why it actually edged out my number 4 pick, which I'll get to in honorable mentions, because just how much I would want to visit it again. So
Nice.
yeah. So that's me. That's my number 3 pick. So, Larry, why don't you go next?
Alrighty. My number 3 pick is a movie that I was also anticipating ever since the first trailer came out, and that is the film Trumbo.
I should have seen that coming.
Yes.
you saw it.
Trumbo. Trumbo is a movie that, like, to be quite honest, when you look at Trumbo, just kind of thinking about it, it doesn't necessarily do anything that's rather new or creative, but
No.
it tells such an engaging story, and I think the main reason that this movie works so well is because Bryan Cranston is just transformed in this role as Dalton Trumbo, and I think the way just the conviction and the presence he has as this character just absolutely holds the film together, and he's surrounded by a really just fantastic ensemble. You have Louis C.K., you also have
John Goodman was
John
my
Goodman.
favorite minor
Yeah,
character.
he was awesome. You also have Kirk
As
Douglas. Kirk Douglas
Oh, yeah.
has a pretty fun role in the movie as well. They recreate Spartacus with him in it, which is actually
Well, no, that's not Kirk Douglas.
wait. Who plays Kirk Douglas? The guy who plays
I don't
him.
know.
I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
The point of the matter is, it's paced very well. And the dialogue, the script is just so well done. It never loses any momentum. So much great dialogue that reveals so much about the characters, creates this incredible narrative that is really an underdog story, but it feels more than an underdog story. It feels like, because this is actually what happened. These historical events. It really paints an interesting picture about this time period and what it was like coming from the side that were probably the most involved in it, and you know what, and really what's great about the character of Trumbo is that it doesn't necessarily paint him completely as a hero. He's not painted as just this martyr or this savior of his kind. He had his own issues just like anybody else would, but it's still like a satisfying story, and it's still just an interesting account of this time period. Personally, like the whole blacklisting period for screenwriters is fascinating to me, how that whole thing spiraled out of control. And I think with Bryan Cranston as the lead, you just have a fantastic biopic. Thank God he got nominated for a Golden Globe. I'm hoping he also gets nominated for the Oscar race. So that's my number 3, Trumbo. Really great.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. If you're not following him on Twitter, you should be. But I'm doing my top 10 favorites of 2015 with little like cards, kind of.
Yeah, I saw that. I really like that idea. It's interesting.
Yeah, I had the idea this the morning before I decided to do it. And my number 9 favorite is Trumbo, because I really, really did like this movie. I would call it, it's what I call like a light drama, where it moves so quickly and it kind of covers so much ground that structure kind of gets a little muddled, and the more dramatic moments feel a little rushed over. But the script really is fantastic. It is a really funny movie, really fun characters.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention
It is
that,
engaging. Yes?
It's hilarious. So funny.
Yeah, it is. It's basically a comedy. I guess it's technically a biopic, but it's probably biopic comedy or reverse.
Yeah, well,
that
you
if
called it a
want.
light drama, and I think that's because there's so much comedy that it feels more like a comedy when you walk out.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't know. You pretty much said it all. It's really engaging. It's funny. I learned about it's weird. I didn't know about this whole blacklist thing until freshman year of film school, where they're like, "Hey, here's the history of the film industry," which makes sense, and they brought it up. And I thought to myself, they should make a movie about that. So here we are. And yes, Mr. Cranston, you will be hearing from my lawyer. So
I think more people need to be making movies, and with this kind of movie, just spotlighting one guy, I would be so interested to see other people's stories throughout it. I know Trumbo was the most prolific, but I mean, you have a great little moment in time that deserves to be looked at a lot more.
Yeah. And on that note, Spartacus is really an amazing movie.
It's
if you haven't
so
seen it in a while,
good.
you should look back. It aged
so good.
surprisingly well. At the beginning, not so much, but as you keep watching, you'll find yourself really get into it, I think.
Yeah.
Max, you didn't see it, did you?
No, I didn't.
Oh, so you don't
no.
have any thoughts, really?
No, I don't.
Okay.
You should see it, though. It's really good.
I
Yes, it
will
is.
Eventually. I love
Yeah.
Cranston.
Yep.
Yeah, of course.
Cranston.
And it's fine that you weren't talking much, because now you get to talk a bunch, because we're on to your number 3 pick.
My number 3, and you guys might be mad at me for this,
Probably
is
Yeah.
not just a movie.
Yes, it is.
Oh my god.
It is a movie, but it's also an experience that led up to the movie. And you could probably guess what it is. But my number 3 pick goes to a movie that we're probably going to hear again on this podcast, Star Wars The Force Awakens, and
okay.
the year-long hype leading up to the release. And I put that in there because no other experience with film culture was more exciting than just talking about Star Wars with you guys, with friends at college, with friends back at home. It's like, it was always just something to talk about. And the fact the movie lived up to the hype, you could say, is
pretty miraculous.
a minor miracle, yeah. And it's because The Force Awakens, I think more than any other Star Wars movie, understands characters. It's one of the first movies I've seen to have an ensemble cast of new characters. Like everybody from Phasma, Snoke, Maz Kanata to Kylo Ren, Finn, and Rey. And I like them all. There's not a single character I'm like, yeah, I'm not so sure about that person. Every single one, I'm like, yes, I like that they're in this universe. I like that they're made. Even if they make small appearances, I'm glad they're in this universe so we can see them more often.
Yeah,
it's a movie
we spent. Sorry, wait. I just want to point out we spent an hour 15 minutes, part 1 of our podcast, on just characters.
Yeah, that's got to say something. And
yeah, it does.
The fact
we certainly said something. We said a lot.
And the fact that they managed to get excellent performances out of it, which is kind of a first for the franchise in some ways. I mean,
no.
All right, fine.
Depending
They
on
had
the
great
movie.
performances
Yeah.
and even the prequels. Okay, let's be honest. It's pretty much just Ewan McGregor. Yeah, okay.
Well, the
No
first
one had
time
a
where
great
I was
performance in
like,
Phantom.
dang, that is good performances. Daisy Ridley, though. My point is that like all these characters amount to a pretty good story that I will admit is a bit problematic in some places, but like it works, and it really just got me like all excited. Like it's really not often to watch a movie where you get all excited to see the movie. Like you know, I try not to have expectations, but even just the like. What I like to think now is that I'm looking forward to watching the movie. The movie itself, it might be bad, but just watching it, the experience of sitting there and watching things unfold, I think that's what makes me excited. And that's why this movie, much like the other two on the list, were both films I was looking forward to watching. So, with that in mind, yeah, The Force Awakens, man, that was a lot of fun. And it's the only other movie this year where I was immediately... The other two films, sort of, yes, but I was immediately, yes, I want to go see that again.
Yeah, you don't
And
see
again,
movies like that
3
often.
times. And, yeah, this will not be the last time you'll see Star Wars on this list, most likely, in this podcast. But, yeah, number 3, Star Wars The Force Awakens, and The Road to The Force Awakens, all throughout 2015.
Yeah, no, that's a good reason. It is.
What do you think I was going to do, like a tie? Like, no way, that's not happening this year.
A lot of people I saw online, like just kind of film culture kind of people, were talking about how Force Awakens could very well be the most anticipated film of all time. Just with our culture, how big movies are, the internet being able to spread stuff, the name Star Wars, the way they've been hyping up Return to the original trilogy style, all that. It very well possibly be the most anticipated movie of all time, and box office seems to be reflecting that. It is crushing records and all that. So I totally get that you've included that experience, because again, the criteria for this list was, what's the most positive emotion attached to when you think of the movie? And so you can't separate The Force Awakens from the amazing buildup, and that was such a fun part to be a part of. And so yeah, I totally get why you kind of put both in the number 3 spot.
I remember Peter Shrieta, I think that's his name. He's the guy in charge of Slash Film, and he wrote an article, this brilliant article right after the Star Wars Celebration in April, about how it doesn't, like, to him, it doesn't, you know, the whole quality of The Force Awakens wouldn't really matter, because in the midst of all this, he was just excited to be excited for a Star Wars movie. Like, he was happy to be excited. And honestly, I'm kind of glad that our generation, millennials, kind of experienced the hype for this in a way that our previous generation experienced the hype for the prequels. And how ours was the lighter timeline.
Yeah, and we did not get burned like Phantom Menace burned.
Yeah.
So
Not to just drag that into the light again, as so many people have for the last 15 years, but I think it's still worthy of note to point out that hype is a powerful thing. It can make or break a movie. And in this case, The Force Awakens didn't even, again, no, there didn't need to be trailers or posters. Star Wars The Force Awakens just could have come out and would have been breaking these records anyway. But the fact that Disney crafted such an engaging experience leading up to the film is something to be said. So I'm going to stop rambling and we can go on to number 2 now.
Can I just say, I'd like to bring up something that I love. Every gift I got from my friend this year was Star Wars related. Every
Nice.
single one. And I think it's just so much fun that people just expect that. It's like, oh, Star Wars gifts. Totally. That's not weird.
Yeah,
that's not
I
a
got
nerdy
my
thing
roommate,
anymore. Star
Jango
Wars.
Fett Lego.
Oh, man.
Oh, I love Jango Fett.
Jango Fett's awesome.
You'll probably never find a bigger. I bought right here. Don't know if you can hear it. I got.
Yep.
You can hear that. Sorry. I got in Santa Monica this summer. I was in a toy store and they had a brand new Jango Fett action figure, and so I bought it because my old one, I of course lost all the pieces because I was a kid, and they lose the small pieces. So now I've got pristine quality Jango Fett. So yeah,
Excellent.
good pick,
Yeah.
Max. Good gift.
Good pick. Always fun, Star Wars.
Okay,
All right.
so should I go to my number 2 then?
Yes,
Yeah,
go on.
go for it.
Okay, this is tough because this is the best movie I saw this year, but I was being emotionally honest with myself in terms of what I liked more, and it was unfair, and I'll bring it up again when we hit number 1, but my number 2 pick is Inside Out. It's not fair because it is the best. It is the best movie I saw this year. It's a masterpiece. I mean, we all know it. We all talked about it, but when revisiting it, I realized I haven't talked to you guys about it really since the review, where I said that I didn't get the emotional side of it. I was just super into the creative side and stuff. Rewatching it, I got into the emotional side of it. So it's even better now. It really is a emotional movie, and that's the pun, a major emotion picture, yeah. But it was. It's a very, very emotional movie in a very good way. And it's such this complex concept that you're like, how can you possibly pull that off? And in a kids movie of all, genres, they do, and they make it seem effortless. It seems like everything's exactly as it should be. You can't imagine other options. They ever had any other options because they made just the best picks in every way. What emotions, casting those emotions, what the story was. It's just pretty much. It's almost a perfect movie. I don't know what else to say. It's just genius. Sadness is one of my favorite characters of the year, if not my favorite character. Probably my favorite Disney character ever, because Sadness is just amazing.
Bella Smith, good performance.
Yeah, and of course Amy Poehler's great. The cast just kills it. I mean, that's not really a surprise, and it just has some of the best moments of the year too in terms of movies. I don't think we should get into spoilers necessarily, but you probably know the moments I'm talking about.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Inside Out. Pixar's close to best, but Up has the benefit of dog jokes, so I can't really call it the best. Up wins by a dog, okay?
By a dog.
It's
That's
so hard to
perfect
beat
wording.
a magnificent Pixar movie that happens to have one of the major characters as a talking dog. I'm sorry, but Inside Out, you're a very close second for my favorite Pixar movie, and you're my second favorite of 2015. So you guys have any more thoughts to put out on Inside Out?
It's excellent. Again, it's one of those things where it's just you watch and you're like, yeah, excellent.
Yeah, no, that was cool. One of the best things ever. Yeah, okay.
I mean, we can gush about it, but that kind of ruins the joy of watching the film. It's you can just say it's a genuine masterpiece and you just move on.
Yeah, it's kind of nice how safe it is in its masterpiece status. You don't even have to make a big deal about it. You just show it to people and they're like, oh yeah, no, I get that now. It's just
All right, yeah. I showed the film in my movie club, and man, I looked at the audience during certain key moments. Oh boy, their
Tears.
eyes,
Yeah.
watery, yeah,
Waterfalls.
everywhere. Even from people I knew that were not normally that invested before. They were just, And I will say,
Yeah.
and if I may, the short that comes with the Inside Out Blu-ray is actually really funny.
Oh, I want to watch
Riley's
that.
first date. I saw that.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
not
got it.
okay. Okay, don't expect brilliance. It's just really
Right,
funny.
yeah.
That's all.
It's a
And
cute
that's
little
what I want
short.
and that's what I want from Inside Out. I don't want any sequels. I just want a ton of short films because you can do so many creative ideas with this.
Riley
So-
Goes to Therapy. Do it. Riley Goes to Therapy. That'd be a brilliant short.
And hey,
Really?
it's better than lava, so I will take anything.
Hey,
past lava.
is better
Guys,
than
guys,
lava.
hey, as host, I'm gonna step in and say this is the positive episode. We
Right.
and I'll
Right.
just spoil it now. My number one least favorite movie of 2015 was Lava.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's keep
You
it
know what?
positive.
Honestly,
Yes,
that's my
Lava was
list.
Not
That's
good,
number one.
But Inside Out was. So unless you have any other comments.
I think I'm just gonna kick it into high gear here because that's also my number 2 pick is
cool.
Inside Out. Because I'm going right after you. I know we're not gonna make a big deal out of it, and we're gonna stay positive. But this year, and honestly, was just kind of a downer for me in a lot of ways, with some movies that honestly just did not live up to what I was expecting from them. And Inside Out was the first movie that actually did. I think that this movie, it had a lot of hype for me because this was the first in a the last couple of years Pixar's been kind of playing it safe, or they've been doing some movies that I don't really think are really top Pixar quality. And so when I heard that this was the concept they were going for with the film, I was like, all right, this is cool. This is the kind of stuff that Pixar tackles, these complicated stories.
And it's a director of Up.
So yeah, and it's one of the Pixar's best directors handling this.
Really. I mean, listen, he was. I went to a advanced screening of the film.
You got to.
You got this.
Yeah, and they did a whole master class, I think it's called, which is basically when it's like a public interview with Pete Docter with like a bunch of like images on the screen stuff. It took 6 years to make this dang movie.
Yeah, I know.
6 years.
Oh my God, it was
funny
crazy.
But you know what? If we have to wait another 6 years for a Pete Docter masterpiece, I will wait.
Yeah,
I will wait. I will stand in the line
Same.
for the theater 5 years in advance. Probably shouldn't do that, but I will anyway. I will
Yeah, I mean, you
gladly
just don't
wait
have to, Max. I
six
mean.
more years for a Pete Docter masterpiece because right now he is responsible for directing Monsters Inc., Up, and Inside Out, 3 of the best movies from Pixar. So
Yeah.
that's a pretty dang good track record.
I will agree with that.
Actually, did you know somebody who was approached to direct Inside Out was Brad Bird? He turned it down
surprise
though
me.
because that's not his thing. He was like, "No, Pete, this is your thing. You do it."
Yeah.
Yeah, good. I mean, it was just such a great concept, and when you're watching it, it's just some of my favorite movies of all time are films that like the concepts don't really sound so easy to pull off on paper, but just when you're watching it, everything works. Like all the choices that they made in order to visually represent all of this stuff works. And this is another example of that. So many ideas in this movie are just so creative and fun and playful. One of my favorite scenes in Inside Out is the one where they become abstract. And they change shapes
funny.
and everything.
That got really strange when they went to 2D images. It's like, whoa, this is a Pixar movie.
Yeah, but it's awesome. That's just
That's
like
what's funny. That's the one scene I think just was kind of unneeded and weird and not really.
But I
that
don't. But
good.
even though it is a little weird and slightly off-putting, it still is it's a good execution of an interesting idea. You know,
And
the
it's
idea of turning
educational.
abstract concepts into like 2D and from 3D. It's just and especially with the characters, the trek of joy and sadness just goes in so many different directions, and I love it. The different worlds they explore, and what's great about it is that outside of the mind, you also get some fascinating ideas. And when I rewatched it a second time, sort of like what Sean did, I really started to think about it more. And in the review, I mentioned that I think some of the concepts aren't perfectly executed and are a little confusing. But rewatching it, I got more time to think about it. And you know what? No, they really aren't. When you really think about them, they do make sense. And really, that is the last thing holding the film back from just being this incredible emotional experience and art. And I don't know if it's my favorite Pixar film, but I will argue that it is their best, just based off of like conceptual execution and just a hell of a emotional core. Oh my God, Inside Out, my number 2 pick. So good, so great.
So we're done with Inside Out?
Yeah, we're done with Inside Out. Max.
All right, Max, it kind of just comes to you at number 2.
Yeah. Number 2 is ever changing for me because I saw a lot of great. I'm kind of not on Larry's side here. I think I saw a lot of great movies this year.
Yeah, I thought it was
and,
great. Yeah.
Like the film, like Force Awakens and my number 1 pick, I knew about this movie's existence for a long time before it came out. I was looking forward to watching it, and I was I enjoyed myself so thoroughly when I did watch it, and that film is Steve Jobs.
Nice.
And
Nice.
yeah, I realized that I'm kind of surprised at myself because I was so like, unlike Star Wars and my number 1 pick, I was not like raring to go back into the theater to watch it, but it's one of those things. It's like, if you'll allow me a food analogy, it's like a fine dessert. It's like a fine high class dessert. You eat it and you're like, this is all I need. I don't need to gorge on more. I just eat this and I'm like, I feel excellent. I feel like this is a sweet, delicious treat. And Steve Jobs is a triumph of not just, performances, as everybody loves Michael Fassbender too. Yeah, that's fine. But also the editing, the screenwriting from Aaron Sorkin, one of his best works. I guess he's just really good at writing stories about tech geniuses these days.
Yeah.
And He's it also has some of the best like structure, and if anything, it has a great soundtrack. And I actually listen to the soundtrack whenever I'm writing a screenplay or something because it's just very stimulating. And just like how characters interact with each other, the lighting, it's awesome. Like I was so like thoroughly impressed with all that came together. Considering how hard it was to get this movie to a distributor, it's like what even like why was it so hard? This movie does everything it needs to do and then more. It's yeah, and yes, the performances are great. I would especially give props to some of the supporting cast, including Gwyneth Paltrow, who's amazing.
Kate Winslet?
What? Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah, Kate Winslet. I don't know how I got those two confused.
Oh my, yeah.
Because they are just
wow.
the exact same people. Should you edit that out and just put
Nope,
that?
nope. It's
Nope.
amusing.
Wow,
No,
It's
we're
just a
keeping
lot
it.
of effort. You guys-
Gwyneth Paltrow, who makes a cameo appearance in the movie as nobody. Kate Winslet, who's excellent, and Seth Rogen, who proves that he has some chops as a dramatic, as a genuine dramatic actor as well. Dramatic actor, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, Steve Jobs. It's the complete package. It's this is like one of the movies I would like to direct someday if I ever make it. That's why it's my number 2.
Man, it's I really it hurts that Steve Jobs couldn't be my top 3 because it really is amazing. It is so close. The distance between it got so close to number 3. Like it's so close. It was a hard time ordering them. So you might as well consider it in the top 3. You might as well. I would call it the most unremarkably remarkable movie. Where it's like if you see the people involved, like was it really going to turn out anything less than what it did? Which is just stellar.
Yeah, honestly.
So it's kind of like, don't go in expecting to have your mind blown. It's going to be exactly as good as you think. It's like, it's going to be awesome. So, yeah, it really is amazing. And I mentioned in the review, I don't know what it says about me, but I was really relating to Fassbender's Jobs.
Me too.
Don't know what that says about me, but I thought very much more relatable character than Social Network Zuckerberg, even though he was also a very well-made characters in terms of like relating. I was much more attached to Jobs than him. So yeah, it probably is a complete package, and that's definitely in the like best movies I've seen this year. That's really high up there. So I'm really upset I can't bring it up on this list. So I'm really glad you did.
Yeah, that this is definitely my honorable mentions. I guess because we're bringing it up now, I'll just give it some brief stuff. I think. Even though we all expect things to be as good as they are, I still think it's really great that it is as good as it is. Especially considering we have such a vast array of talent. Like the last people I would think to put together are Boyle and Sorkin as as talents. I don't know. I just don't think that the movies I've seen from them really complement each other. But they absolutely. I think Boyle's style as a director is prominent, and I think that Sorkin's writing is absolutely the star of this film. He's fantastic screenwriter, and this is just another example of why Sorkin deserves more work, just in general. I know he's a very prolific guy. I know people know him from The West Wing and from Social Network, but he deserves to be writing like a lot, like at least one a year, honestly. Like he deserves to be getting... He deserves to be gracing us with his presence that often. So
like, I realized what I like about Sorkin's script, and it's especially clear in Steve Jobs, but also Social Network. Those are just two easiest to compare. What he basically does is he writes this completely unbelievable dialogue. Like does not feel, it's not natural at all. No one talks like this. But in doing so, crafts such engaging and intelligent and fascinating characters that you totally buy it.
Yeah.
Like he creates the characters that can pull that off. Right. And they do.
You remember,
it's so much better.
A film doesn't have to have natural dialogue because it's a movie.
Right.
Movies are
but
not
exactly.
Like if you took the lines out, like no one talks like that. Not really. But because their characters are so well formed, I totally bought it. And that lets them get away with so much more because they can be much more poetic than a person normally would be, because the characters can pull it off the way they're made, and the performances sell it too. I shouldn't just give it to Sorkin. The performances also sell that dialogue. And I also want to point out, I don't know if you did, Max, the cinematography is gorgeous.
Yeah, really well done cinematography also.
How the colorization changes depending on which scene we're in.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. All right, we should move on to everyone's number 1 or everybody's honorable mentions.
Yes.
But yeah, Steve Jobs number 2. Yeah.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I was sad that I couldn't talk about it at length, but I kind of ended up talking at length. So I think what we should do, we are surprisingly pretty quick on time. So I say we can get a little bit of a blurb in on each honorable mention. Do you mind, Max?
All right.
Just
really
quick.
Let's do it.
I'll start. run through. Some of my runner-ups are Crimson Peak, great gothic, not horror movie, gothic romance. Trumbo, as we talked about, Mr. Holmes is like just a really amazing performance from
I've been
Ian
meaning to see
McKellen.
that movie. Oh, I want to see that.
Platforms now, so you could like rent it on
Is
iTunes
it
or
awesome?
something.
All right.
Yeah, please do. It's really really good. And surprisingly, it did really well though. For its theater
That's good.
count, it actually is in like one of the highest grossing. So it did quite well.
Oh,
I'm sure
cool.
Ian McKellen had something to do with that. Spy,
Nice.
hilarious, great performances from everyone, especially Jason Statham, who's playing Jason Statham. The Martian, loved it. Fun dramedy. Matt Damon's so likable, it kind of anchors the whole movie.
I'm looking forward to seeing that one.
Huh?
I'm looking forward to seeing that one. I'm showing it in my club, and I've been waiting to see it.
You haven't seen The
Looking forward to
Martian?
No, not yet, and I know it's still in theaters. That movie
Wow.
took over the theater before Star Wars came in. Like, actually,
That's amazing.
yeah.
It's not
amazing.
still in theaters
Keep
for
going.
me. Is it?
And then,
wow.
yeah, it's not for me. It left, but
Not
hang
for
on
me,
a
but
while.
like when Star Wars came out, there was still a showing at the at the theater I was going
Dang.
to for it.
Cool.
Nice.
Good for
you,
it.
Martian.
Yeah.
Good for you. And then Steve Jobs, because, all the reasons we just talked about. And then what was so close to getting number 3, but it was the difference between which movie do I want to keep going back to and enjoying watching. My 4th would be The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2. Because I saw it a
nice.
second time, and it really is just thoroughly well executed. It might be my favorite war movie, and that is what I consider it. I consider it a war movie. That's how you close a franchise. It totally made part 1s. Not as much happened. It was a bit too slow at points. It felt a little half movie. Totally made it worth it for part 2 to be this good. So, there are my honorable mentions.
All right. I'll just go right after you. I don't really have them all ranked yet. I do plan on it, but a couple ones I'll just throw out there. Star Wars, like we mentioned, lots of fun. I have my own little issues with it, but I will always go back in that movie, keep rewatching it for years to come. The Martian and Steve Jobs, as we mentioned. Some that we haven't mentioned, Ant-Man, really fun superhero heist movie that I think kind of got, I don't know, like in our review, you guys kind of gave it the average rap, and I
liked it more upon rewatching, just for the record.
Well,
so
that's
I'd
good.
say it's good. I enjoy it. It'd be at like, if I'm doing the rankings, it'd be like at 15, so like just out of my honorable mentions range. But yeah, I
okay,
liked it.
that's fair. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really, really funny, a good way to end off in quotes, the origin movies for Marvel.
Not Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
confirmed.
see, apparently Doctor Strange is an origin movie. See, I figured that they would
well.
keep doing them.
At least they're not doing another Spider-Man origin.
Yeah, thank God for
Goodness,
that.
we've seen it. We've seen it.
Nice. I think, and then two movies. Actually, well, I guess very quickly, I did enjoy Terminator Genesis, and I thought that was a fine movie. Although I don't think it deserves to be in the top list. And the same goes with Furious 7 and Trainwreck. Those are just some films that I did enjoy, and they might have made the list if I think they were just better films in general. But easily the film, if we're going off of what would have almost made the top 3, Dope, which was a film that was released earlier
I
in
need to see it.
2015. Oh my
Yeah.
lord!
I never saw it.
Talk about a surprise on all cylinders. This is a movie that I easily call it the biggest overlooked gem of the year. It got advertising, but it didn't really have that sort of allure that other big blockbusters did. But it is just fantastic thrill ride, really great performances, a great message, and just a great director at the helm. Really surprised me just how funny and how entertaining it was. So dope.
Yeah, Max, we
Please
could have
look
seen
it
that
out.
in Santa Monica actually, but it never ended up happening.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure,
guys,
we
try
would do
seeing
that.
it if you can. It's
Yeah,
definitely
I
one
will.
of the best.
I mean to, because I've heard great stuff.
Yeah. So there you go. Those are my
Max?
honorable mentions.
Got your runner-ups?
Yeah. Let's see. Like there, I'm gonna go with Creed. Remember, like for
I
first
meant
off,
to
which
see
is,
it,
like,
but it left my theater.
I end up seeing
yeah,
Creed.
Creed is an awesome movie. It's
I
just
like Creed.
great characters all around. Has one of the best internal, like it has one of the first examples of an internal character twist that you never saw coming, but you totally understand at the end. It's you can't, like, it's a miracle how they pulled that off. Carol, I saw last night. It's great.
Been meaning to see that.
Dang good.
Yeah.
Really, really good. One of those movies where you can like totally like lets the spaces between lines of dialogue speak so much louder, and it's all through the performances. Dang, Rooney Mara. Dang. Just go win all the things. Let's see. Fury Road. I'm gonna give a spot to Fury Road. That might be my number
goodness.
4.
Thank
An
goodness.
excellent action movie.
I was
an
so
excellent
worried it was
character
going to be your
piece.
number 1.
Oh,
and
it
I
wa-
was just gonna
nah,
have to,
I knew it
mute
wasn't gonna be
Skype
your
until
number
we were
one.
done.
I
It's
knew
a
it
great
wasn't.
film, a great film,
Okay.
but it's not. Yeah, it's not my number 1. And man, there were a few others. I I'll just give a shout out real quick to Hateful Eight, even though it was not,
I haven't seen it
even
yet.
though I wouldn't
unfortunately.
put it on my number 10, like in my top 10 or anything like that. It's still a good movie. Still check it out. Probably the most grotesquely Tarantino thing since Reservoir Dogs, if you can believe that. And I know there are more honorable mentions on here. I know there are. I just cannot think of them. Oh, Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation. That's the last one.
It's so weird. I still have like no opinion on Rogue Nation. I need to rewatch it because like just nothing
so
stuck with me,
strange.
and so I'm just so neutral. It's like I didn't even see it. I need to rewatch it.
Find a way to, if you didn't see it, find a way to watch it in a theater because it has some of the best action, like the best action scenes probably of the year. Action that respects the genre and that totally stands on its own feet. All right, let's get to number one.
Wait, I'm so sorry. One quickly because technically I didn't see it in 2015. I saw it like yesterday in 2016. The Big Short. I saw that yesterday.
But it's a
Oh, yeah.
2015 movie.
It was,
so.
but I mean, I wouldn't have. It isn't eligible for the list because I didn't see it in 2015. But I think it deserves.
No, that is eligible.
Oh, it is eligible. I guess
Yeah,
it
if
is
it's released in
eligible.
2015, it works.
Yeah,
the
okay, so-
point is this is our 2015 favorite movies. It's not
Right.
like I saw Casablanca in 2015. That's not gonna be my number one.
Right, but I
It
think
doesn't
that
matter if you watched it. It's
that deserves a shout out. I think really well done. Adam McKay is definitely a visionary.
Cool.
Gonna give it that.
Mm-hmm.
All
All
right,
right, let's do it.
number
Okay.
one.
Time for number one.
My number one favorite film 2015. Are you ready, you guys? This is gonna be tough news for you guys. It's gonna come as a shock.
I know what it is
Even
already.
more shocking than Age of Ultron. This is just gonna tear you apart with how surprising it just will distort your reality. It's Star Wars.
Oh my god!
That's why I said it isn't fair because Inside Out is like a 9.5, just fighting every rewatch to get that 10. Star Wars is 8.5. It doesn't matter. A good Star Wars movie, a decent Star Wars movie, for me personally, and this is not like me critiquing and analyzing, this is just emotional response. A decent Star Wars movie is going to trump an amazing Pixar movie and a good a great Hunger Games movie and a good Marvel movie and all that because it's Star Wars. And this was a great Star Wars movie. So Inside Out, all of them really didn't have a chance. And I'm so sorry. But Max, I didn't want to, gush when you were talking about it. But come on, guys, Star Wars is back. What else is there to say? It's highly entertaining. It's got just a great cast. Every character, there's stuff to talk about, but not so much that they kind of overshadow each other. Kylo Ren, one of my favorite characters of the year, might be my favorite character of the year. Sadness, Kylo Ren are gonna have a fight about it. That's a fun little matchup there.
Yeah.
In terms of my favorite character of the year.
Right.
Hey, they're both owned by Disney. That should happen. That should
Yeah.
absolutely happen. Disney, get on that. Kylo Ren debates with Sadness. Let's have that happen.
And also, if you didn't notice, guys, my 3 favorite movies of 2015, all Disney. Yep, Disney owns me. I can live with that. I'm fine. It has some of the best moments of the year. Most are spoilers, so I won't say. Just seeing old characters come back was handled amazingly well. What went wrong? Like what? A few lines felt out of place. The story was a little bit of a retread, but I still think there's a lot of uniqueness to it. We just did a 2-part review. I can't go on, and you already talked about it, Max, so I'll just stop there. But it's Star Wars, you guys. I'm so sorry, Inside Out, but Star Wars is going to be my favorite movie of 2015.
Yeah, it's hard. It's kind of weird for me being the only one of us three that doesn't have Star Wars up on the top 3.
Yeah,
but
I'm not saying that I hate you now, Larry.
okay. Well,
but-
look, I enjoyed Star Wars as much as the next guy. I really thought it was a great just experience, being a part of this kind of the hype train. But as far as just films that I really appreciated and really enjoyed and thought were just excellent on all levels, the 3 that I'm, my number one pick as well as, Trumbo and Inside Out just kind of inched up. I definitely in the top 5 though. That's for sure. Star Wars
Cool.
is just
Yeah.
such
It's
a
kind of
fun,
sad.
such a fun movie.
What's that?
It's kind of sad that we're never going to get this hyped again for a Star Wars movie because, like,
I'm
episode 8 is
I'm
a year
more hyped.
and a half away. Like,
Yeah,
this
I'm-
is like
honestly, I'm more hyped for episode 8 than I was for 7 right now.
really.
Yeah,
I
because
think it's just
7
like,
did such
I
a
don't
good
think
job.
there'll be like this much anticipation again because
Oh, yeah.
like The Force Awakens, it was the comeback.
Yeah,
like this
and
is now it's now established as a franchise, but like this was the comeback kid, and
Right.
man, it was
In like the public sense, we'll never experience this again in our lives probably. This was huge. Star Wars coming
Yeah.
back, the good things behind it all. Yeah, we'll probably never come close.
I'm not going to
But
say
for
anything
me
too
personally,
quickly. Just
Episode
yeah.
7.
I'm not either, Sean. I'm with Larry.
Dude, that was a cultural event. But in terms of like my personal excitement, Force Awakens did so much stuff that hints at such awesome things that could come up. I'm actually more excited for episode 8 than I was for 7. So Ryan
Oh, yeah,
Johnson.
me too. Ryan Johnson.
Brilliant director. You don't let me down. You won't. But good luck. So, yeah. Anyway, Force Awakens, favorite movie of 2015. Because Star Wars.
Yep, because
Again, I gave it a Star Wars out of 10. That
Star
should
Wars
have
out of
been
10.
an indicator. Star Wars out of 10. I mean, Star Wars out of 10 really does kind of supersede even a 10 out of 10. So that should have been the red flag that it was going to get number 1. Because I didn't even give it a number, really. I gave it a Star Wars out of 10. So, anything else, or can Larry do his number 1?
I've said all I got to say.
Okay.
All
Larry.
right. This is a movie that one of us mentioned in the honorable
Because
mentions.
I honestly can't guess it.
Yeah, because we haven't really gotten a chance to talk about it. I would never expect that that a film by this guy would make number 1, but lo and behold, The Hateful Eight is my favorite film of 2015.
As soon as you said it was mentioned.
Yeah,
What?
Max, here's the
No
thing.
way.
Max, here's the thing about
the best movie. You think it's really the best?
Okay.
Your favorite movie of the year?
Okay, let me explain myself a little bit here with this choice, because I've been reading a lot of thoughts on the interwebs about good old Tarantino and how A Hateful Eight is just Tarantino on blast. And
I said that, Larry.
yeah,
You-
I know.
you
That's
quoted
why
me. I said.
I know. That's why I said it. But I think that people are looking kind of unfairly if they're going to be looking at The Hateful Eight and they're just going to be kind of faulting it because Tarantino's style is overbearing. I think Tarantino's style, though it might be a bit, ultra violent and it might be a tad grotesque and ain't for the faint of heart. I think that kind of a style creates some of the best theater-going experiences you will ever have, and it creates some of the most memorable movies that have ever been made. Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Django Unchained. These are movies that I look back on fondly. And this is and I think The Hateful Eight really deals with, I think Tarantino just kind of, it deals with a new kind of film for him. In my opinion, though his style may be similar, narratively speaking, no other film really does what The Hateful Eight does, which is let's stay in one room and basically tell a whodunit. It's if Tarantino did Hitchcock, and I think it works absolutely on all cylinders. The theater-going experience for The Hateful Eight was easily my favorite of the year, and that's not just because I went to the Roadshow, which was a fantastic experience on its own. Just the dramatic moments, the way some of the reveals are paced, the way the characters, the way we get some fantastic character interactions. The dialogue never slows down, and no line is out of place. No moment feels too, out of nowhere. Even in moments that you just are so shocked and your mouth is on the floor, your jaw is, wide open, it still makes absolute sense. The narrative that is played here is just, it's stretched, and if it had stretched it just a little bit more, it probably may have been too thin. But even though the narrative does do one thing that I wish they wouldn't have done, it's not necessarily something where I would say, oh man, this movie sucks because of that. And it's not something I think that's a flaw in the film. It's one of those situations where I would have done this differently, but I still respect the way that they did that. That's the one flaw I have with it. I enjoy The Hateful Eight a lot. Every performance is top notch. And again, I think it's unfair to look at The Hateful Eight and, Tarantino's style and just kind of say it's too much. Because honestly, other Tarantino movies in my opinion, go far worse. I think that Hateful Eight it's not just a Tarantino movie, it's a great whodunit, and it's a great narrative. And I think it's definitely deserving of my number 1 of the year for sure. So, there you go. Hateful Eight.
Well, I haven't seen it, so I don't have any thoughts.
Right.
But Max, you seemed surprised.
I'm surprised because you called me out, Larry.
I'm just saying, Max, when we were talking a little bit about the movie.
First off, for the record, I love Tarantino.
I know you do.
He's the greatest 12-year-old in all of cinema.
Okay, well that
never
I
gets
will
old.
always stand by
love it.
that. Because he's a great filmmaker, great storyteller, also 12-year-old, but he does all these things very well, very well. But also, I think a lot of his tropes have become stylistic.
Dead weight?
Stylistically, I don't even know how to describe it. Actually,
Yeah, I don't know the movie. So.
it's a bit self-absorbed in how much he focuses. Now, I was listening to an interview before I saw the movie, and he says he loves writing characters, and that's why he made The Hateful Eight about 8 characters. But I would argue that it's a little bit too focused on the characters, which I cannot believe I'm saying, because characters are so important to any narrative ever. To the point where it's up to a bunch of characters that are well developed, but also kind of despicable, to push through a really thin plot. And there's just sometimes where they're just talking, and it's like it's Tarantino dialogue and it's good, but also just like, all right, guys, we've heard the Tarantino dialogue, we can move to the next thing. Again, it's a good movie. Like, it's still a good film. It's well shot, it's well acted, it's well everything, but it's very much a Tarantino piece that I think would divide audiences, and I'm unsurprised that it did divide critics a bit. So that's my thing. It's still a good film. It's not at best though. Not as best.
I'm not saying it's his best. I'm just saying it's, in my opinion, my favorite film of the year. Again, now I also forgot to mention cinematography is amazing. That's also there. I will say that again, I mentioned this in the beginning. I'm still kind of getting off of the high from the theater-going experience I got, and just, in my opinion, the brilliant turns the narrative takes. But who knows? If we look back on this, maybe even a couple months later, it's very possible Inside Out could be at number 1, and Hateful Eight could be at 2, or Trumbo could be at 2, or Inside Out could be at 3. You know, but I think the overall thing I want to push is that these 3 movies, in my opinion, I was hyped for them, and they absolutely 100% lived up to my expectations, and I just enjoyed them thoroughly. So, there you go.
Well, because that was so interesting and it was number 1 pick and was catched, I allowed a little bit of negativity from you, Max, but let's not let it happen again.
All right.
Yeah, Max, stop raining on my parade.
Whatever.
No, it's good. It's good. So, Max, go ahead with your positivity.
Okay, a little backstory here. Last year, we did this very same thing, and they gave a number 1 to a tie between 2 movies, the quality of which I'm still debating to this very day. This year was the complete opposite. Like, it is so not a tie. It is so number 1. It is so the best film I saw this year that there was no way anything could come close. And that film, as you guys have put it, is Inside Out.
Movie. I was being an idiot. I was like, what could it possibly... Of course it's Inside Out.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Come on.
No movie came close to the kind of emotional storytelling and character-driven narrative and just overall excellently made filmmaking that is on display in Inside Out. There's no contest. It's kind of sad because not only does it show that Pixar, they have it, as they always have had it, and they've never really, faltered to me. It's always just been this, constant progression of emotional storytelling, and they get it down so well. You know, it's funny, I would actually say that The Hateful Eight is sort of a non-intentional response to Inside Out's emotional wavelength, because The Hateful Eight is very much a story about emotional storytelling. That's sort of
that's true. That's very true.
Yeah. Inside Out is, it's so weird that we don't see this enough, but Inside Out, and I don't mean to bring up this other franchise because we talked about it enough, much like The Empire Strikes Back, focuses so much of its narrative on its main character screwing up so badly all the time. This movie could be called Joy Screws Up the Movie, and it would be the exact same thing. And that's what is so gutsy about it, because we don't often see characters go through such trials that they bring about themselves. Everything in this movie, every single action, every single set piece, because it takes place in the mind of a child, is completely character-driven. Everything that happens is because of a character's fault or a character's benefit, and it's amazing how they do that. This is why Joy is one of my favorite characters of any fictional work I played or watched or read this year, because she's there's so much empathy, and there's so much focus on her as somebody who is always trying to do the right thing, but will always fail because of her job, because of what she feels that she needs to be. I could write a formal college essay on each of these characters, and Joy's would be about 60 pages. So, I would say that alongside an amazing soundtrack, of course, beautiful animation, because of course it's Pixar, and an amazing ear and eye for humor, and an incredible emotional moments that I didn't think would get me, and then they did. They almost did. Inside Out is my favorite and the best film of 2015. The only film on this podcast I've ever given a perfect 10 to. That's why. That's
got
why.
so close for me.
That's why.
Actually, wait, what did I give it?
You were 2.
Because I feel like
give
in
it
hindsight,
9.5.
I'd give it 9.5, and I might have done that originally.
Oh, what's the
but
score?
Yeah,
I think you gave it a 9.
So close. It's so close, but a few things. But I'll just reiterate what I said. It's amazing.
Yeah,
that's all I need to say. It's again, we don't need to say anything. It's so clear from just watching it. If you've seen it, you know. Mm-hmm. It doesn't need analysis because it's so clearly told. It's so clearly explains its theme and its characters. We don't need to analyze for anyone to get the meaning and why it's so good. You see it. It's right there in front of you on the screen. It's undeniable. So yeah, I'm happy it's your number one pick because it deserves to be number one. But Star Wars. So
I would say, I will say that this is again a movie I followed. Like, I heard about it right when it was announced.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, Pixar doing psychology? Yeah, we're good.
Same.
All right, buying a ticket. See you guys. I'm going to buy a ticket 5 years in advance or whatever. Like, that is how much. And you know what? Watching it in an advanced screening, and then with Sean, and then in a theater with a bunch of college kids, each held their own special experience, and each had their own fascinating observance of how the audience reacted, of how I reacted. Inside Out just provided so much, and it really is the best movie I saw this year. There's no question.
That kind of reminded me just in kind of just adding it to my Age of Ultron section. You brought up theater experiences. That's a big part of it. Well, it's probably one of my favorite film going movie going experiences at a theater was my first showing of Age of Ultron because it was a sold out premiere showing and everyone got every single joke and inside nod and hint and every oh, that's so cool moment. So that was awesome. That really helped it get to number 3 too. Sorry, that just
and I know that there's there's maybe an elephant in the room of oh, you're a millennial, of course, because you grew up with Pixar. Of course, it's your favorite movie. But no. Pixar has to do work. If I love something as much as I love Pixar, it's got to work to impress me.
Because
it can't just come in and be like, "Hey, man, you want to go to the pizza place?" No, they got to take me to a nice restaurant with good, authentic Italian food before they can really impress me, and they did. They took me all around the block.
Oh my god, I'm still calling you
in 2015.
Jesus.
Sorry,
I'm still calling you Max Food Analogy Mariner. I think that needs to be cut. That needs to be a nickname.
It works. Do you not understand what I mean?
Oh no, I just think it's hilarious that every single analogy you do
one
is
thing
food.
we can all relate to. It's that we eat food.
Okay,
yeah,
that's true. It's just every single one.
I will also agree that Inside Out is my second favorite, and I would consider the best. Totally on its own merits. It's not Pixar related, and Pixar does have to work in order to impress me because in 2015 they didn't work and they did not impress me. But
whatever, I don't care. Good Dinosaur is still really good. Shut up.
We will get to negative side.
Yeah.
Larry, did you have anything else on Inside Out?
If I see it on either of your lists, I am scolding
I didn't see
the internet so hard.
I didn't have seen.
We're already getting negative. I think we should wrap it up.
Well, I just want to also.
Okay, Inside Out number one. Yeah, we're good.
I just also want to mention.
So let's recap. Let's just recap real quick. What our three top threes were.
All right, number 3, Avengers: Age of Ultron. Number 2, Inside Out. Number 1, Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
And for me, it's number 3, Trumbo. Number 2, Inside Out. Number 1, The Hateful Eight.
And for me, number 3 was Star Wars: The Force Awakens plus the experience and the hype. Number 2 was Steve Jobs, and number 1 was Inside Out.
So Inside Out was on
each of these lists.
That's pretty cool. Inside Out was on all 3. Star Wars was on 2, and then the rest were a mix. So that was good.
Yeah,
that was good. So
we all love Star Wars. We all love Inside Out. So just go see those movies.
Yeah, definitely go see those.
Yeah. See them.
All right.
So I think we're done here.
Yeah.
That's enough positivity. Yeah. What do you guys say? Let's push that out the door.
Let's get negative.
Let's get to the stuff that upset us and pissed us off.
Yeah.
So join us very soon. We'll be posting just a few days apart for our top 3 least favorite films of 2015. But let's end on a positive note with our delightful names. So until then, my name is Sean.
My name is Larry.
And my name is Max.
Thanks for sticking with us through all the positivity, and now let's get to the seething hate you love, Internet. See you next time.